Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we're doing a video that we've seen kind of floating around BookTube for a while, and we've kind of wanted to join in, and that's a list of books that we wish we could read again for the first time. I didn't realize this was a thing until I actually thought about it, and there's so many books that I wish I could go back and experience like brand new.
Yeah. I would be interested to see like if my opinions differed.
Right.
Like if
because a lot of these are ones that I read when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're ones that I reread, but I feel like the experience is different once you already have experienced it.
Yeah, you go in like with already preconceived notions,
Yeah.
I think. So the first one for me, this is gonna be no surprise. You guys are probably tired of hearing about this
so many videos referencing
because I'm
this
just
book.
like always talking about it. But Verity by Colleen Hoover. We should just like
tattoo it on her face.
Tattoo it, yeah. Just walk around.
She needs to put us on her payroll
for real.
How much we promote her
promote this book. This one, you know, it's no surprise. You guys know that this was like a crazy twisty one for us. So yeah. I would just love to be able to be like shocked again by it. Mm-hmm. So that's just my first one. I'm not going to talk any more about it because you guys probably hate me by now.
Yeah, the first two that I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to go into detail because they're like ones that I feel like a lot of people have read. And the first one is obviously Harry Potter. I just wish that I could go back and like experience that magic again for the first time. Yeah. There's nothing like it. Mm-mm. Same with watching the movie. I mean, I remember seeing it come to life for the first time as a child, and it's just being like
just such a feeling.
It is. And I reread Harry Potter, the whole series, at least once a year, and I rewatch the movies once a year. And I do love them. I love them every time I reread them, and I feel like I, you know, remember a detail that's I've forgotten since the last time I've read. But there's nothing like experiencing it for the first time. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's my first one.
My second one, again, probably going to be no surprise to anyone, but Mudvayne by Taryn Fisher. This is what I would call my soul book. The emotions that this book evoked in me, just, I wish that I could read this again.
It's a book unlike any other. Like, there's nothing like it out there.
It's really something that I was like, wow, this is unique. And it's actually, it was my first one by Taryn Fisher, and it started me on a whole downward spiral.
The way I like to describe it to people is like there are books, and then there are like works of art, and that's art. Like, it's not even necessarily, it's not for everybody. I wouldn't even recommend it to everybody. It's very artsy, but it's something that resonated with both of us.
I have a beautiful print of it that I need to show you.
Yeah.
It's like on like a page of a book. Mm-hmm. It's so gorgeous. Yeah, I have to show you it. I might have it right here.
The next one I want to talk about is certainly not a work of art, but it will also not come as a surprise to anybody, and that's Twilight.
I knew it.
Yeah. Remember reading the series for the first time. I think I was in like 3rd grade. I was too young to be reading it. I was always like really advanced. Yeah, I was always like reading like really advanced in the books that I was reading. But like I very vividly remember getting in trouble in school because I was like reading it during class because like I couldn't put it down. It's a story that like has resonated.
Story of my life
since like the first page that I read, and it's no secret that I'm the world's biggest Twilight fan. It's something like I still reread. And I waited for Midnight Sun, waited for it for over a decade. And so I do wish that I could go back and reread those books for the first time and like remember what I was feeling. And I wonder if I would love them as much if I read them for the first time as an adult.
I don't think so.
Probably not. But since I read them as a child.
That's why some of them I'm scared to go back and like the Mortal Instruments. I don't really want to reread them because I'm scared that it's just going to ruin it for me.
Most people read Twilight as teenagers, and that's why they loved it so much. So I'm surprised that I loved it so much as like I was a child. Like I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, mine's not going to be a surprise either.
I feel like we've talked about all these books so much.
Yeah. I wish I could read this entire series again. The first book specifically.
Yeah.
Because so the new one comes out tomorrow actually. And I have been doing a reread of the entire series. And I was a bit younger when I read this for the first time. And I feel like my opinions have changed. Mm-hmm. Not in a bad way. but in a more mature way. I've seen a lot of things that I maybe didn't pick up on, you know, and I kind of wish that I could just experience that magic again.
Yeah.
Especially because, without giving a spoiler alert away, there's a character that I absolutely loathe now that I did not when I first started the series. So be interested to see how...
That's interesting. It's like that with a lot of the books too, yeah.
I would feel about said person. Going
it's like that with Twilight too. It's like now I like can't stand Edward and Bella. I still love the story and I love all the side characters, but like I can't, especially Bella, I can't stand her. But as a child, I like loved their story. It's so funny. The next one is Gone Girl, and I think that anybody who's read this will know what I mean. There's nothing quite like reading that twist for the first time.
I'm telling you.
And not being ready for it. I've never reread Gone Girl, and I probably never will, because I don't think that it's something that I would enjoy as much knowing that twist at the end.
I agree. That one's really good. So that's actually the same reason I chose the next one, which would be Identical by Ellen Hopkins. The twist I never saw coming. Like, I just never saw it. And again, I don't think I could read it again and have the same effect, like knowing it. It just wouldn't work.
So the next one I want to talk about is Swear on This Life by Renee Carlino. I know that's one that I've mentioned before. Have you read that one? Didn't I make you read that one? And you loved it too, didn't you?
I did.
That book was
I just love all her books.
I know, she's great. But that book was just a ride. I don't think I was quite ready for how emotional and deep that book was going to get.
Yeah,
This was back during like my like romance phase where like that's all I read. And this, I don't know that I would necessarily qualify this as a romance. It was very much...
Wait, I don't know.
It was very character driven, and it was a lot about this girl's past, and she had a really rough past. And I like that the chapters alternated between like a chapter of the book that she was reading and a chapter of like her kind of reacting to it.
Yeah.
I just think the layout was so interesting, and it was something that I read super quickly, and I wish that I, once again, I mean, like the video, like the title of the video, I wish that I could go back and read that again for the first time, because I don't think I was quite ready for it, and I loved it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Then my next one would be My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This is it's a psychological thriller about a couple who keeps their marriage alive by killing people together.
Love that.
And this one I was not expecting this. I just wasn't. This whole book was just written so beautifully, and it shocked me, and I was just like, I recommend it all the time.
Maybe that's what I'll read on vacation. I mean, it's not a very vacation-y read, but who cares? I love dark books. The next one is my favorite book by one of my favorite authors, and that's The Stand by Stephen King. It's, I think the first, no, it's not.
I haven't.
It was the first full like Stephen King book that I read, but this was such, I mean, this book is such a beast. If you look at it, it's probably like his longest, if not one of his longest. It's a huge book. And I was pretty young, so this was like the first really big book that I committed to reading. Look at this. I mean, I have a big head. And look at this. How many pages is this? This is crazy. I mean, here's the forward, but it's not. 1,436 pages.
It's a big boy.
So being like 15 and committing to reading this and actually going through with it was like a big accomplishment for me. But I remember this book was just such... It was so like shocking and chilling to read for the first time about
I haven't read it, but obviously I bought it.
It's a good testament to humanity, I feel like. And his books always are. Like they make you think about the human brain way more than I would expect, and it kind of made me, and I remember being so young and like never really questioning how I thought before, but really questioning how I would react in that situation, in that like apocalyptic situation. So
obviously, I bought it, so I'm gonna read it.
You need to read it, but it's gonna take you forever.
This is gonna take me a while, because even The Shining, like we've talked about this, his books really mess with your head. So like The Shining is not that long. It's really not, like for an avid reader, but it took me a while.
And for Stephen King books, it's really not that long.
It took me a while just because, like she said, you have to take a break, like because it gets overwhelming.
It is. It almost kind of gives me anxiety to read his books sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those books that I read at night to wind down. Like, it's like...
No, it keeps you going.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one I have is You by Caroline Kepnes. I thoroughly loved this book. I started it when I was going on vacation. I started it on the plane, and I got to the hotel and I still wanted to read it. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to read it. But I really kind of wish that I could go back and just experience the magic of it for the first time.
I have to say, I know everybody loves You. I think my mistake was watching the show before reading the book.
I'll tell you that.
Because I liked it. I didn't love it as much as most people do.
Here's the thing is I really actually did. I loved it, but
the fact that everybody hyped it up, and I'm so somebody, I'm like a little bit of a hipster with books. Like, if somebody hypes up a book, I have a hard time enjoying it because I pick it apart. It's my fault, really, but.
And I still think, like, this is my favorite out of the series. Like, Hidden Bodies, a lot of people say Hidden Bodies is they like more.
I hated Hidden Bodies.
And then I've actually, I got an advanced reader of the third one. So I've read the third one, and this one still holds. It still holds as my favorite.
Yeah. My last one is a book that I love books like this. I had to read it in high school for a class, for a project, and it ended up being one of my all-time favorite books. I have a tattoo for this book. I love it that much, and it's The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. It was literally my first tattoo that I've ever gotten, and I've got quite a few tattoos now. The first one that I've ever gotten, though, was a quote from this book on a kite. This book is just truly about, like, friendship, and I know that sounds tacky, but it takes place in a third world country, and it's something I haven't read in years, so I'm having a hard time remembering the details, but one thing that I do remember is how I felt when I read it, and it's something that I would like kill to experience again. It was one of my all-time favorite books. Yeah. And I had to read it, I think it was it was sophomore year, honors English sophomore year, that I had to read this book. And just a testament of like how much these two friends like would really ride for each other, and one more than the other for sure. But I loved it. I remember how I felt. I don't remember details from the book, but I remember how I felt. That's the best.
It's like remembering how you felt. So I'm gonna finish this off with some serious nerdism here. This is my biggest. Look at this baby. Beautiful.
I love that cover.
I know, right?
I don't think you can see the text on camera.
No, you can't. It's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I wish that I could experience this magic over again. I read this all the time.
You know what's funny is I could experience this for the first time, because as big of a nerd as I am, I've never read Lord of the Rings.
I love Lord of the Rings. I love Middle Earth. I think it's just so magical, and I really think Tolkien has such a amazing talent. Like that world building is so phenomenal.
To be that well loved, it has to be good.
It has to be. It is.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a little ridiculous that I haven't read it.
And honestly, I'm not like disappointed by the movie adaptations. I'm really not. Yeah. The Hobbit movies, they did okay. I'm not really sure why they split it into 3, to be honest. There was not enough content. But the other movies, the originals, where they did, The Fellowship, The Two Towers, The Return of the King, I really enjoyed them. Yeah. I still will watch them over and over and over again.
I've never watched the movies either, because I've told myself this is one of the few times where I'm going to force myself to read them before I watch.
I have like several different this one I just got recently.
I have the movie tie-ins, the mass market movie tie-ins.
I have the movie tie-ins as well, but
yeah.
I just love this one. I treated myself to this one the other day.
It's beautiful. I love the texture of the cover.
Because I wanted to do a reread, and all my other ones are packed away, and I was like, I deserve a new one.
You do.
So I bought this beautiful boy. And I think we're done. So those are the books that we would really like to read for the first time. Well, a few of them at least, because
this is another one that would probably be a part 2.
Yeah, we could definitely have parts to this one. And we would like to know any that you would like to be able to read again for the first time. Again, come check us out in the Facebook group and find us on TikTok. Everything will be linked down below. We're trying to be, you know,
tech savvy,
active here, but definitely,
struggle.
yeah, it is. It really is. Definitely hit that like button and turn on that notification bell so you know when we post. And we will see you next time. Bye. Bye.